Hey guys, your binos, they kind of stink. I bet you want some new ones. Vortex binos, guys. You want a set of Vortex binos, we're giving them away. All you gotta do is like, comment, subscribe. Make sure you're commenting on the videos. Make sure you're engaging with our videos. We're giving away binos every single month of the season, guys. So if you want free binos, you want some free optics, maybe we switch it up, we do something a little bit different, guys. At the end of the day, if you guys want some free stuff from Vortex, like, comment, subscribe. How to hunt high-pressured properties during the rut. Guys, I've been lucky enough to hunt some of the better states like the Missouris, and I wouldn't even say Missouri's that good anymore. Their CWD regulations are a little bit wonky, and there's a lot of crazy stuff going on in Missouri, but I've been lucky to hunt that state, Iowa, Kentucky, Illinois, all the good states, guys. I've hunted a lot of them, but at the end of the day, like, those are semi-easy areas to hunt. But there might be high pressured areas within some of those counties and within some of those neighborhoods. Now, those of you that are in Michigan and Pennsylvania and Wisconsin, this video is definitely for you. Those Minnesota guys, like a lot of those places where the hunting pressure is high, and like I said, it could be anywhere at this point, but this video is really gonna be for you guys. So let's say you're the 20-acre guy. Let's say you're the 40-acre guy. Let's say you're the 100-acre guy. This is the time of the year in which you really gotta hone in and buckle down, because at the end of the day, these bucks are starting to slip up. Those midnight pictures that you used to have are now turning into 8 a.m. photos. They're turning into 7 a.m. photos, 10:30 a.m., 5 p.m., 4 p.m., 3 p.m., 2 p.m. These bucks are starting to become daylight walkers. And so now, the biggest thing that I would tell you guys to do is you just gotta be in the woods. We've talked about it in other videos and talked about wind direction, and I think on your given properties, you should have absolutely been paying attention to wind direction and thermals and all the other access routes, everything that you can possibly do during the entire portion of the season up to this point. Now it is time to be where you feel like you need to be. You can sit on the fringes all you want, guys, but you need to realize this: you are not the priority anymore. Predation is not the priority anymore for these bucks. They are looking to breed. Everybody has that story of that rut-crazed buck when they're walking down the trail and he's looking at them and he doesn't want to move because he's locked down with a doe. That proves what his priority is at this time frame and this time, really. So the most important thing, guys, is that you are out there, okay? And you are out there where you feel like you need to be. Sitting on the fringe of a property, it is no more. It is time to get into the heart of the property, where you think the most sign is on your property, so that you end up killing these bucks before your neighbors. So the one thing that I would highly recommend, guys, is hunting in and around these bedding areas, because if you are in these bedding areas where these bucks are coming back to in the mornings and spending a lot of times in daylight hours, the chances of you killing these bucks is much higher, just because this is where they're spending the majority of their time. Now, maybe they are not bedding down like they would in September and October, but these bucks during this time frame are scent checking these areas. They're spending a lot of time in these areas. To a certain extent, they're probably laying down some sign in these areas. Now, what bedding areas do we need to be focusing on? Well, I'll give you a couple right here, guys. So let's say you're in a flatter ground area, okay? You know, something a little bit farther north. Focus on the popple slashing thickets. I'm focusing on the brushier old logging thickets. I'm not necessarily focusing quite as much on topographical flow, but I am to a certain extent, because, well, let's face it, we don't have a lot of it, but what topographical flow there is, we do need to pay attention to. Here's a little quick tip for you guys, now that we're on the topic of topography. You found your thicket, you found your bedding area, you found your place in which you're gonna start hunting a little bit more often, we're gonna dive into. Turn on your Onyx app, turn on the hybrid mode, and pay attention to those topographical lines. But Brett, I'm in Northeast Wisconsin. There is no topographical flow. There's one line on my map. Pay attention to that line. Pay attention to that line, and here's what I can just about guarantee you, is that there is a good trail, and probably the best trail on your property, on that line or paralleling that line on 20 yards or either side. If we can correlate that with cover, now you have the transition area or the travel route to and from that bedding area, which now allows you to kind of hunt that bedding area a little bit differently, or a little bit more strategically, because you know how deer are coming in and out. That slight change in topographical flow or elevation, might be 5 feet, it might be 10 feet, is enough to dictate movement, guys. It becomes the path of least resistance, and you wouldn't believe how often those deer are actually spending time, you know, in and around those bedding areas. So understanding, yes, that you need to be close to the thickets and that you need to be close to the bedding areas is important, but how are deer getting to and from those bedding areas? That topographical flow will lay that out for you. Now let's say you're the hill country guy. There's a couple different bedding areas that I really like to pay attention to that are strictly picked off of topographical maps before I ever step foot onto the property. Now, obviously I like to correlate some cover with these topographical features, and I'm looking at my maps and I'm looking at the size of the canopy on the trees. I'm looking at that hard edge from an old clear cut or an old select cut or anything like that, or a swamp maybe. But the topographical flow makes all the difference in the world for me. And so the first thing that I'm looking for is leeward ridge points that are huntable on southwest and northwest winds, guys. That's what we're gonna get for the majority of winds throughout this time frame. And on those cold fronts, and once you get in the woods, we're gonna have some sort of northerly winds. So a ridge point that's jetting out to the, it would basically be to the southeast, would be perfect for a northwest wind, guys. So that's where that buck would be bedded there. He'd be bedded on that point, smelling everything behind him and visually looking at everything, you know, looking at everything out and about. And then for that southwest wind spot, you know, basically a northeast pointed ridge with a southwest wind is where he'd want to be bedded on the southwest wind. So keep that in mind when hunting these places, because you might have to play the thermal so that your wind drops off either side, but paying attention to these types of bedding areas are absolutely important in high pressured areas. And the reason I say that is because that's where the bucks are. So if you can narrow down where the bucks are in these high pressured areas, you're gonna kill them before anybody else does. The other one that I really like to hunt quite often is leeward draws, guys. I don't talk about this one purposely. It's one of my favorites. I don't really give this information out very often, but the leeward draw is probably my favorite bedding area, guys. So you got this big drainage, okay? And let's say that drainage runs north and south, and you got a southwest wind, and it blows up into the northeast side of that drainage. The wind comes out of these bottoms, it sucks up, and it blows out to the northeast. So a southwest wind, if a buck beds on that top third of that northeast draw, well, that's where he is. And I've seen it time and time again. So now he's bedded on the leeward side of that draw, top third of the ridge. And so now if you can correlate that with a good thick cover, area, bedding area or anything like that, it's a great place to hang a stand or hang a stand in and around. Try and figure out where he's going, what food sources he's going to check at night, where are all the does hanging out, so that you know how he leaves that area, so that you know how to hunt that area. At the end of the day, guys, like that's probably the best place that you can be hunting, you know, in hill country. And I'll be honest with you, I don't always even correlate it with a good thick cover, a good bedding area, like a good clear cut, a good spot that you've hinge cut or created a bedding area. Like just the topographical flow by itself, or the topographical feature by itself of a leeward draw on the right wind, where a buck can bed at the top third of it and smell everything that's getting sucked up into that drainage and draw up to the top, and then blows out in his direction, is a place where a buck feels bulletproof most times, and he damn near is, unless you understand where he is and try to calculate prior to going out on that hunt. So those are the things that I'd absolutely be paying attention to, guys, on these high pressured areas. At the end of the day, I'm telling you these things because you need to know where the bucks spend their time. And after spending time on about 600 properties across the country, guys, those are some of the things I picked up on. Topographical flow, obviously thickets are important, bedding areas are important, but how to hunt those bedding areas based off of topographical flow. How are you getting from point A to point B? Well, if you're in the flat ground, pay attention to that one topo line on your map. It's all you got. That's an edge. It's a form of edge, and deer are creatures of the edge. If you're in hill country, you need to know where these deer are bedding. Leeward ridges, leeward draws. And the leeward draw one, guys, is, I'm telling you, start paying attention to it, and you're gonna start sending me messages and telling me about your success stories. It's my favorite one. So at the end of the day, guys, if you want to hunt high pressured bucks and kill high pressured bucks in high pressured areas, you need to hunt areas where these bucks are, and you need to get to them before everybody else does. So if you guys kill a big old buck, feel free to slide in the DMs. If you use these tips, send me some pictures. I'd be interested in seeing them, especially if you guys kill them on those leeward draws, guys. So don't forget about that leeward draw if you got them. But at the end of the day, guys, that's how I'm killing pressured bucks.